Yeah. So this is Escape Doodleland. It's one of those fucking eShop games on the Switch that's like always like 15 cents or something stupid. So I was like, I have 15 cents. I can do that. And I did. And we're going to see what the hell. Why is this game 15 cents? Got a little intro with little creatures, and you know what? This is some low bitrate video. We're just gonna go in though. I already know right off the bat. Shop settings, start game. I already know right off the bat, like, if someone who I know saw this, they would say something like, "Oh, this looks like." Oh, what do I do? Press A to jump. They'd say something like, "Oh, this looks like something you would make. This style reminds me of you." Which actually is like the worst thing you can press right to fart dash. Like, this looks like something you would make, or which, God, there's so many things. Collect beans. Welcome to Doodland. Yeah, which it sounds like a compliment to people. Like, people would be like, "Oh yeah, like, that's awesome. That, like, that looks cool. It looks like you'd make it." But I've always had this like thing where, like, when someone tells me that something I did reminds them, or something they see reminds them of my stuff, and like, I hate it. I don't know why. Like, I hate when people are like, and again, it sounds really fucking like, "Oh, that's very like they're just trying to pay you a compliment." Like, they tell you that your stuff reminds them of something, like, you should take it as a compliment and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yes, I agree. Like, that's obviously what they're trying to do. But for me personally, it just seems like I just hate being compared. Or like, your stuff reminds me of X, Y, or Z. Like, my like, I don't when people are like, "Oh, what are your influences in art and stuff?" Like, I'm like, I don't really have anything that's, I can't give you an artist that I like that would that's like, "Oh yeah, if you look at this guy, you can see where my influences come from." Like, I don't have that. Like, the closest thing before was Lawrence Weiner, and that's only because he uses text. All his stuff is text based, and I was always like super intrigued about using language as a form of art or whatever. Which I mean, I don't know why. That's a whole other conversation. But like, oh fuck. But like, yeah, when someone's just like, "Oh yeah, this reminds you of your style," I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't think I have a style. I think everything I make looks completely different because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But like, people will tell me like, "Oh, this reminds you of your style," and, "Oh, this reminded me of you," or, "You kind of remind me of this artist." Like, that to me, when someone says you remind me of someone else, that to me is like the worst thing you can tell me, because I purposely try to not look at other art and stuff because I don't want my stuff to be influenced by anyone. Not for like, because like, not because I don't appreciate what other people are doing, but only because I don't want my stuff to be like lumped into something. Like, and every time I make stuff, I'm doing it, and that's the reason I think why I don't have a specific style or whatever that or at least I don't think I have like a style that all my stuff falls under, because I don't have like a yeah, if you look at this thing, you'll see that all my influences come from X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't like that, because I think it pigeonholes you. It makes you like, everything looks samey. And it's good because you get better at what you do because you're doing it a lot, and I think there's merit in that. But for me personally, I don't like the I don't like when all my stuff looks exactly the same, because I don't know, I feel like it gets boring. Like, I keep saying, like, everything that I do, I try to make it different so that it doesn't feel samey. Because also, like, since my mood changes how I do art stuff, then, you know, I'm not always in the same mood. So then I think the way I draw or what I draw or what I paint or how I paint it, I think varies depending on my mood and what I'm thinking about at the time or whatever. So the reason I bring all this up is because I know if someone saw this, and someone who knows me saw this game, and, you know, they'd be like, oh wow, this looks like a game you would make if you were to draw a game, right? And, like, I can see a few things, you know, where I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like a little creature, and that's that and the other. But I just don't like the comparison. I don't like the, like, yeah, you're this person, you and this person are doing the same thing. Like, I don't like that. I just don't like it. I haven't really been talking about the game. I'm just running, and so there's not really anything to talk about. But yeah, I knew when, like, I saw the game in the eShop, that when I saw, like, the art style or whatever the hell, I was like, oh, I already know that, like, if someone saw this, like, say someone from work, right, who, like, they mostly just see my, like, work doodles where I just draw random little things in between, like, when it's slow or whatever, like, they'd be like, oh yeah, this looks like something you would make, that looks awesome, you know? And I'm like, I mean, kind of, I see some things, but also not really, because, like, just saying it's a creepy doodle thing, like, yeah, but also, like, that's, you know, I don't know, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I don't have any artistic influences that are on purpose or that I try to emulate, because I don't like the idea of having someone else influence what I do, and then having me become basically like an offshoot of what they're doing. And again, there's like influences that there's like no way to avoid them. Like, I've definitely seen some stuff where people have been like, oh, your stuff kind of reminds me of this, but I can see some of it comes from there, or like I can see there's some similarities, but it's not an exact replica. And I think for me, the biggest thing is that, like, I don't want to be an exact replica of someone else. Like, I don't, like, anytime in like art school and stuff where they're like, emulate this guy or emulate this lady and have them be, you know, try to paint like them. I'd be like, why? Like, I understand it's a learning technique and a learning tool, but, like, I don't want to paint like someone else. I want to just figure it out on my own and do it myself. You know, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, this guy clearly learned from this person. Like, I don't like that mentality. I don't really like that idea. Oh, I got eaten. I think most of and I've talked about this, I don't think I've talked about this here, but I did, once upon a time when I did art, like, at the like the Yuma, when I went to Yuma for like the metalsmithing symposium thing, I gave like a short, like 10-minute, maybe less, talk about like my influences and oh my god, I just died multiple times. Yeah, where, like, you talk about your influences and stuff like that, and, like, and I realized also, like, it was also in like the last class you need for the art school or whatever, which was like the thing where it's like, you know how to make stuff, now you need to learn how to talk about it, and, you know, that and the other, and be like a capital A artist. Like, how the hell? Reagan. You know, where they teach you how to, they're trying to teach you how to do that and like talk about your stuff and talk about your influences and your process and whatever. And you know, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I'm really influenced by this guy, I'm really influenced by that guy. And I think my biggest influences didn't come from art specifically. Like, there's no one artist that I can point to, except again for like, I like how Lawrence Weiner uses language as an art form, I guess. But other than him, there's not really like, and I remember in school, like professors would be like, oh, look at these 3 artists because they remind me of what you're trying to do. And then I would see them and I'd be like, I don't understand why you think that that's what I do, because I don't see it. Maybe some ideas or something, or like things like that, but I don't see the resemblance in the technique or the style or anything like that. So that to me was always a weird point, because I never really had like an artistic. I think most of my stuff and the way I described it when I did those talks or whatever was like, I think most of my influences come from this, and before this was more prevalent. I think it's changed a bit since, but a lot of it came from just like the things I witnessed or like experienced as a child. Being a loner kid meant mostly like video games and stuff. I used a lot of like strong like color palettes, since games before had the, you know, these extremely saturated color palettes and stuff. And like, I think that trend that comes out a lot in the stuff that and like how I paint and whatnot. Subject matter, I think, has changed. Definitely used to be a lot more about like my childhood and stuff like that, but it's definitely changed since I was in college. I think a lot more now. And I mean, this kind of it happened before too, but I think something about it. I think I had a thing where I tried to express it, and like I was kind of told no, so I just stopped. But it's come out a lot, like when the stickers and stuff that I made, like and like little ideas like that. There's a lot of stuff that's influenced by the music that I listen to. And I tried doing that before, but I was kind of told like, no, don't do that, or like that's not. I don't know. It was basically shut down, so I kind of didn't want to do it. And then once I got out of college, I was like, well, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then surprise, surprise, when I did stuff like that, people didn't know where it was from, but they were really receptive to it and they really liked it. So anyway, yeah, this the main thing I wanted to get at was I don't like when people say that my stuff reminds them of some other stuff, because it makes me feel like I am copying someone, and I don't want to copy anyone. I want my stuff to be my stuff. But that's it. Oh, this is creepy. Yeah, Escape Doodland. Do I have anything to say about it? Not really. I mean, it's a basic runner game. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. It's definitely like a game you would play on your phone, not on like a game console. The art style, I don't know. I think it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think I don't know. It's definitely an art style. It's definitely distinct and stuff. But I've never been a fan of like when games look like this, where they kind of look like they were just doodles. I'm not a fan. There was another game before that had a style like this, and I was like not about it. But there are ways to do it where I think it looks cool, like the rotoscoping with Hotel Dusk, where those are drawings. I mean, the game isn't like a 3D whatever, but like the actual portraits are just like sketches, but they're kind of moving and stuff. I think that's really awesome. I think that's a really cool way to do it. But this here, I don't know. It just feels. It doesn't feel like I don't know. It just doesn't feel done. It feels like this is the rough draft of what the game was going to look like, and then it wasn't. I don't know. This was done. I mean, this was obviously done on purpose, but I'm not a huge fan of the art style. I think I think it's neat, but it's not like I wouldn't. I'm not big on it. There's a lot of areas that look very amateurish, like the grass panels and stuff look very like rushed and like kind of stuck out, and they look different than everything else, which I wasn't really cool with. And then the random lighting effects also just kind of threw me off. But whatever. It was fucking 10 cents or whatever, and it's at the end of the day, it functions as a game. It wasn't bad. It was whatever. But yeah, Escape from Doodle World, or whatever the hell it was called. Doodland Escape Dude.